one is, I think, a necessary conversation. We know Microsoft listens to this show. They listen to a lot of shows, certainly not just this one, which we appreciate. I've been told this by people with an Xbox that people really enjoy the show. That is pretty ridiculous, to be honest with you. We're a small mom and pop kind of an organization. The fact that anyone from Xbox listens to it is incredibly humbling. But I do want to talk about this particular story. Now, Jez Corden of Windows Central posted this yesterday. The title of the article says, "What's next for Xbox Game Pass?" Question mark. Cloud only tier, exploring ad-based tiers, and the return of the Xbox Game Pass family plan? Question mark. So he's asking the question. On the bottom of the article, it says Xbox Game Pass has had some growing pains recently, but it is still a wealth of untapped potential ahead, according to Jez Corden. Now, interestingly enough, I saw some people asking the question regarding is he reporting that this is happening? Well, the way I can break it down, the best way I could break it down, simply is a post from Clobriel, who actually quoted what Jez actually said. And he says this: "I've heard that Microsoft is working towards a cloud-only version of its subscription that would be cheaper and more approachable to buy than Xbox Game Pass Ultimate." And of course, that what he's talking about is the cloud gaming tier. Now, this tier, as you heard, we talked about it specifically on last week's Primetime Gaming. Myself, Hargeet Chani, and Kayasante. And Kayasante was very bullish about saying that this is a miss for Microsoft and specifically Xbox, Jamie, because the tier is not there. It's currently not available. And it's a tier that they could put up for $8 that would give cloud access only. Obviously, it would not have day-and-date games, but it would have a curated catalog of upwards of hundreds of games for someone, a normie, a casual gamer, that during the Amazon Days sale, where they had this $79.99 package where you got a month of Game Pass, you got a robot white controller, and of course, you got the Fire Stick TV 4K Max. That is probably one of the biggest misses. I don't understand how a $3 trillion company makes a partnership with a competitor like Amazon, puts this incredibly reasonably priced entry into cloud gaming together, and then instead of having a flash screen where it says $8, hundreds of games, where you get millions of new people signing up because it's $8, instead they punch you in the balls by offering you a $20 version that completely cuts your legs off if you're only playing cloud, because the same $20 version gets you cloud, gets you PC, and gets you console. But you're selling to a cloud audience that's finding your subscription service for the first time. It makes no sense. So to hear that they are now openly discussing, well, it makes sense. It's disappointing because I think it's a missed mark, in my opinion, on having this $8 deal for cloud only ready to rock and roll to get new subscribers in the door during a big sale. And now what you got to do is hope that they can have this ready to go sooner. And then, of course, do a 90s kind of ad where that big $8, and again, I'm saying $8. That's not confirmed. I'm saying that if you want people in the door, you want that impulse buy, it's got to be $8. And it's not going to be new games. It's hundreds of curated games that work well on the cloud, that you can get people that are considered casual or the casual audience into your system, into your subscription service, the same way that they are a part of Netflix and Hulu and Max and all the other subscription services. Let's get your hot take on that. We'll come back around to the family plan because I think that that is a conversation that also needs its own legs, so to speak. Let's talk about the cloud gaming aspect and that how Microsoft is now considering an additional tier.
As much as I'm against having a lot of tiers for any service, I think that having a cloud only one, it really makes sense. You know, the Fire TV thing is now a thing. And like you said, the normies, you're going to have people that purchase these sticks and they just want to play some games without buying a console. You know, this isn't meant for like the core gamer, so to speak. So, like, having a stick out there, a Fire TV stick where you can subscribe to like Game Pass, you know, XCloud or whatever. It makes sense, you know. Have hundreds of games in the cloud only service, no day one games. It's a weird misstep because these deals between Amazon and Microsoft, they've clearly been working on for a long time. So like it just seems like an oversight. Like, why wouldn't you have that like a cloud only tier? Because most of the people that are going to be playing X Cloud on a Fire TV stick, those are the normies. These are people that don't have interest in buying a $400 or $500 box. So like it's a weird misstep. I don't know why they didn't do it. Uh, that being said, like look, most people that know me listening know I'm an Xbox guy through and through, right? Uh, but Microsoft they make weird decisions sometimes. You know, the whole marketing situation where they have like £10 to like fund their like summer marketing budget. Like it's weird. Like you have this like $1 trillion organization. They have a ridiculous amount of like not just money, but they have advisors, and they just make bad decisions sometimes. I don't get it, but maybe like Jez Corden said, it's something that I think will happen. Um, it's weird because people say that people freaked out when the whole Amazon Fire TV stick thing was announced a few weeks ago. People were
Yeah.
livid saying it's the end of consoles as we know it. And ever since that happened, I haven't seen anyone in my feed, even the detractors. I've never seen anyone post a picture of an Amazon Fire TV stick saying, "Hey, I'm selling my Xbox." Like that's not the
Yeah, pretty
reality we live in.
ridiculous.
Like
Yep.
most people that are going to pick up this Fire TV stick, the thought of spending $400 or $500 on a console, even $200 on a console, is alien to them. Why would you do that when you can plug this like $50 thing into the side of your TV? So like these millions of people, and gamers might not like hating this, but like the bulk of gamers are normies, right? These are people that play 1 or 2 games a year, and when you have something like Game Pass, you funnel in these types of gamers into other products and services and games, which makes more money for the company. So like these Fire TV sticks, they're probably gonna advertise consoles to these people. So down the road, maybe they want a more premium experience with 4K and all that stuff. Having a cloud only option makes sense for those gamers. Like forcing them to get Game Pass Ultimate where they aren't going to be playing on PC. That's not a benefit for them. Maybe they don't want the EA access stuff. Maybe they just don't care about day one games because, again, there's no reason to play a game day one unless you're desperate for like a new game in that IP or you cover the game, right? There's literally no other reason to buy a game day one. So, like, a cloud only option makes sense for those people specifically.
Yeah, I mean, you make great points. Again, from a hardcore point of view, not having day one games day and date doesn't make any sense. But not everyone thinks that way. If you again, if we are hardcore. We equate, ladies and gentlemen, to about if on a great day. I mean, like the greatest day of all time, 15% of the market for any for Xbox, for PlayStation, for Nintendo. It doesn't matter. Pick your your platform of choice. The casual audience, especially for something like PlayStation, is 80+%. I would even dare say closer to 85%. Same thing for Xbox. Yes, there are a bunch of hardcore players that appreciate and want day and date games. There are people that want EA play. There are people that want online play. Yes, all of that. But that's not everybody. and that's not who they need to sell to. We're already here. What they need to do specifically for Xbox is to bring new players to a platform that is, again, in third place. I don't know if Umbra is back as of yet. Oh yeah, he is. Infinite Umbra. Let's we haven't really discussed as of yet the family plan. We will come back to that. That is a relevant point of contention for this conversation. But I do want to talk about specifically an $8 tier potentially for cloud only gaming, meaning that you're not playing on PC, you're not playing on console, you're not getting games day and date. What you're getting potentially is a curated list of hundreds of games for $8 a month and on your Fire Stick TV on cloud. Do you think that this is a bit of a miss not having this available while they announced this deal with Amazon?
Yeah, and I mean they kind of had that, right? That was kind of what they had previously until they changed up the tiers. Although it did have day and date for one of them that were lower tier. I forgot exactly how they were tiered, but I know.
Yeah, the console one was originally no multiplayer, but
Right.
had day and day games. They added multiplayer. They took away the day and day games and raised
Right.
it to $14.99.
Yeah, and that was the thing. And I remember even back then I made a complaint like some of this didn't make sense then. So I think it's much clearer now that they're just trying to get people and push people straight to Ultimate, right? It's pretty obvious. For that tier that you're talking about, I think that would be pretty smart for sure to have a curated list, which they had at first, a curated list of rotation of 25 games, I believe they had then.
Yes.
So yeah, curated list of that at that price that you can stream straight, from a Fire Stick or whatever. I think that would be ideal for sure. Some people might say, well, who's really going to play that? And, blah, blah, blah. And my thought process was on that I'm not sure if I said it here or elsewhere, but my thinking is that maybe they would put something a low tier price point for a streaming stick to entice people to maybe to eventually get into the hardware.
Yep.
And because some people were like, well, this is just more reasons to say that you don't need an Xbox. They're defeating themselves and et cetera, when Microsoft has made it kind of clear that hardware has never, or at least for a while now, has not been the biggest focal point for them. So I think that it could have a positive effect on doing what you're talking about, which is entice people enough to move up to a stronger tier. And by getting a stronger tier, they might need the hardware, thus the Series S, right? Maybe that might be their first step into getting into something that can really carry the games they need. Or maybe they'll say, you know what, I'll go all out and get the X. So I think it can have a positive reaction because of the streaming itself. But yeah, absolutely. I think that'll be wise for them to have a streaming tier.